What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. Yes, sir. We got a good show today. We got a really good show for you guys planned today. I'm glitching here. Let's get these kinks worked out. Peyton, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. All right, there we go. We're live. All right, here we go. Well, welcome to the weekend wrap up, guys, with the Sportaholics. I'm the host, Russ. My guy Peyton will be joining me in a second. You know he's always on the expert takes. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking Taylor Swift, Shedeur Sanders standing on business, and we recap some of the action over the weekend from the NFL. If you're not already, please make sure you're following us on all social media platforms. Like and subscribe the video on YouTube. It's at The Sportaholics. That's THEE Sportaholics. All that and more on the other side of the intro. Let's do it. Peyton, bro, what's up, man?
Hey, man, I really like our intro song. That just had my head nodding. You know, I was feeling that. That was good.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Am I like off right now? Am I glitchy?
Staticky for a little bit, but now you're moving at normal speed.
Okay, here we go. I'm glad, man, because this I don't know what's going on with my system today, but we gonna push through and we gonna make it happen.
Yeah, we're gonna roll with the punches.
I hope everybody had a great weekend. Peyton, how did your weekend go?
It was good, man. It went by too fast, though. But I guess that's what happens when you're just sitting there watching football all weekend. I might have to change my tune here a little bit. It didn't help me that there was Friday night football on as well. That really had me living in under the sports rock, if you will. So I don't know. I might have to like go out and do something this weekend just to feel alive, you know?
You know, it's crazy because when you watching football all day, like you start at 1:00, right? Especially on Sundays. Well, I mean, Saturdays you start at 12, but you start in the middle of the day and you look up and it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, it happens like that, just like a snap of the finger.
Yeah, man. It was kind of a snooze fest in college football this weekend. What you think? Did you watch some good games?
Yeah, I thought the first window of games was probably the best, showcased and headlined by the LSU South Carolina game. I'm thinking about the second window. Man, it seems like that was such a long time ago. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the most exciting weekend of college football, but as we get into conference play here, it'll get better.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. This is really when it counts. You know, no more practice games. It's like the first couple of weeks for college football is mostly practice games, quote unquote practice games. So we'll see things heat up here, especially with this new playoff system that they got in line. So I'm looking forward to see exactly how things shake up when it comes to conference play.
Yeah, but hey, man, you got to get me out of the house a little bit more. Like I was saying, I'm too deep in right now.
You know, Peyton, I would love to get you out the house. Maybe we could find like a sports bar or something to go to, spend some time there and just kick it. I mean, that's what, you know, I'm not against being at the house either, because when you could bring the sports bar to the house, what's the point, right? If you have the same thing at the house, then what's the point? We got food, we got drinks, we got everything we really need. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and talk some other things that happened in sports around over the weekend. Man, my biggest gripe. This is my biggest gripe. I was watching football on Sunday, the Chiefs game, and I couldn't help but notice Taylor Swift. She was on screen more than anything. Like I saw Taylor Swift more than I saw the players. All right, that's an over exaggeration. That is an over exaggeration. But I'm just saying, like, is this good publicity for the NFL, the Chiefs? What's your take on Taylor Swift being overhyped here in the NFL?
Well, I'm not sure if it's good or bad publicity, but we can certainly tell that the NFL is leaning into Taylor Swift. Personally, it hasn't bothered me yet. Maybe it'll start to bother me at some point. But I will say I don't want to generalize this topic into another topic, but I think there is some type of movement happening, especially in our country right now, where more women, more girls are starting to watch football. So maybe Taylor Swift is an example of that. Maybe she's igniting that for some of her fans. So at least that's a cool part of it, if you will. But yeah, it hasn't bothered me yet. But I will say there are times where I'm just trying to watch the game and it's like, oh, we got to pan out to Taylor Swift again. I know you felt that certainly.
Yeah, the crazy part about it for me is you make a good point, but we heard talks about Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce mentioning that Taylor Swift has drawn up some plays. So and the incorporation of women into the game of football is pretty exciting. Now, I do want to know if they run a Taylor Swift drawn play, are they going to go public with that information? And what if it succeeds? What happens if it's successful? If it scores a touchdown or gets a first down, like,
well,
how it be?
They do have a good starting point with Mahomes and Kelce, so there's a good chance that it would be successful. But
hey, listen,
that would be crazy.
She's already in the booth, right? So just imagine they cut to a shot of Taylor Swift, and she got the coach's headphones on. And she got the clipboard or the paper in front of her mouth. That I think that would make for good TV, man.
It would go viral for sure.
For sure. But I guess my other question would be, like, they are showing her a lot. I'm not too familiar with them showing. I mean, I know, like, if they're talking about it, like, they'll show a wife or a family member or something like that. But it's not like after everything that good that happens, they're showing the family like that. But what happens if they break up, or how long is this really gonna last?
Right.
Is it something that I have to get used to?
Oh, that's a great question.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, good. That's a good point there. But it is a cool movement that's happening. I mean, not only more women and girls watching the games, but just families getting together and watching the games. I even saw a clip of Dabo Sweeney. I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but he was talking about his YouTube TV subscription and how Clemson had a bye week last week. And he said that all he did on Saturday was just sit there and watch football all day. So I thought that was pretty funny. But
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's what he does anyways. I mean, he got a scout, and he got a game prep. So he's watching football all the time. Probably not in a relaxing fashion that he had this past weekend, but he definitely he watches football almost 24/7. So yeah. I did have a point, but I lost it. So we're gonna just go ahead and move on.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's followers over everything for Shedeur Sanders. All right. I don't know if you had the chance to watch this clip, but Shedeur Sanders says that there is no love lost for the Colorado State quarterback, Braden Fowler-Nicolosi. This comes on the back end of Fowler mentioning Shedeur Sanders in I guess a weekly press conference that they have at their school. And he told him that the follower is not going to be able to save you on the football field, and he wanted them to line it up mano y mano. We all know what happened at the end of this game. Colorado would go on to scrape the Rams of CSU 28-9. And not only that, but Shedeur would outshine Nicolosi by throwing 4 touchdowns. So, yeah, that happened. But here's where it gets interesting, Peyton. Nicolosi went to shake the hand of Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur Sanders didn't hold back. He was, and I quote, he told him, I quote, "You was talking all that ish." And he turned around and basically walked away and kind of shooed Nicolosi away. Now, my question to you, Peyton, would be, was this unsportsmanlike? Has Shedeur earned the right to, kind of shun other players in college football? Has he earned that right to be as cocky as he is?
Man,
that was a two-part question. So first,
okay.
Is it unsportsmanlike? And secondly, has he earned the right?
In a way, I think it was unsportsmanlike, but at the same time, he was acting over a personal shot that was directed at him. So I see why he was upset. I guess there's some type of middle ground there that I hope that he could have met, but unfortunately it didn't happen that way. But I will say he's earned the right to, talk his talk and walk his walk, because his game backs it up, So I feel bad because I wasn't too familiar with this story. As crazy as it sounds, I didn't see the backlash up front. I did see the interaction between the two and the fact that Shedeur didn't shake his hand. So I'm going to let you speak on it a little bit more, because I don't feel 100% informed about it, but I feel like there's some middle ground that he could have met that he didn't unfortunately meet, but it is what it is. It's in the past.
Yeah, so I believe Nicolosi probably should have just, after the game, after the clock hit 0, he should have just took that L and went straight to the locker room. No need to, try to befriend Shedeur Sanders, because he knows exactly how Shedeur Sanders is. I mean, everybody knows that this guy is pretty cocky, and he walks the walk and he talks the talk. So this is something that could have saved him a little bit of embarrassment. And not only that, we touched on the story coming out of Colorado State earlier this season, when they said that they wanted to go 12-0, 11-0, whatever it may be, and make the playoffs, and they wanted to beat Texas and so on and so forth. And things are not really shaking up for Colorado State. So I think they just need to go ahead and crawl back into that hole that they came from, and continue to play the rest of the season. Hopefully they can win their conference championship, or, improve in conference play. But right now things are not looking too bright for Colorado State. So I believe that it wasn't unsportsmanlike, because, like you did mention, he took a personal shot at him. What I do off the field doesn't have anything to do with me on the field. And it's not like Shedeur is going around bragging and boasting, "Oh, my follower is this and my follower is that, and my fans this and fans that." Like, Nicolosi has fans. I'm sure he shows his fans love. I'm sure he gives them the respect that's due. And they probably return the same thing in his favor. So you can't blame Shedeur for living in a world that we live in now in the college football landscape. So I commend him for backing it up. He stood on business, and I was happy for him. It was a pretty exciting clip for those who didn't get a chance to see it. So yeah, man, that was great. That was really good.
Yeah, I think you make some good points there. And I will say, it's not like this situation is unprecedented on both sides. Like, we've seen personal shots at players before games. We've seen players not shake hands after games. So I think it's overblown to some extent, and I'm glad that Shedeur stood up for himself in a way. I like sportsmanship, and I'm not saying it was completely unsportsmanlike, but I wish there would have been some middle ground there. But, it's in the past, like I said.
So speaking of college quarterbacks, Peyton and Eli Manning could never, ever. Arch Manning had a breakout weekend. He created quite the buzz after a stellar performance versus the University of Texas, San Antonio. Stepping in for Quinn Ewers, he was able to get the Longhorns in the end zone. And one came from him hitting the turbo button and gliding to a 67-yard touchdown. Peyton and Eli could never, man. In all seriousness, though, what's next for Arch Manning?
Well, what's next for Arch Manning is gaining some valuable playing experience on the field, because we know Quinn is going to be sidelined for a little bit of time here. Texas's schedule doesn't heat up for another 2 or 3 weeks, but at least Arch gets a chance to show off his skills and gain that valuable experience that's going to come in handy next season when he is the starter. But yeah, obviously he looked really good in the game. He's got all the physical tools to play at a really high level. It is going to come down to that experience again. What did you think?
Well, first of all, it was a long time coming for Arch Manning. Like me and you talked about off camera, he's been sitting behind Quinn Ewers for a while now. And I think he's been waiting on his day. And I think in that game, he proved every bit of impatience when it comes to sitting behind a quarterback the likes of Quinn Ewers, a potential Heisman Trophy winner. But I guess my next question would be, with Quinn Ewers being questionable for the next game, is he in trouble if Arch continues to play lights out like he has?
Personally, I don't think he's in trouble. And as talented as Arch is, I think a lot of these coaches feel a certain type of loyalty to their starting quarterback. I mean, we've seen it with Florida and Billy Napier and Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz got concussed in that first game against Miami. A lot of people thought DJ Lagway should have played in game 3 against A&M, but Napier and Mertz have that relationship. I think Sark and Ewers have an even stronger relationship. So as exciting as Arch is to watch, especially with the game that Quinn Ewers put on display on the road at Michigan, I expect Quinn to be back in the lineup once he's healthy again. And Arch will have his time eventually, and we're going to get to see him here in the next couple of weeks. So I really think it's the best of both worlds. But I will say Arch is a ton of fun to watch, and I'm sure you felt the same way.
Hey, how do you feel as Sarkisian sitting on a double-headed monster like that?
Best quarterback room in the country, easily, right? Like, you don't even have to think about it. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. You gotta be proud of that guy, because he wanted to get out there and play. He was one of the most talked about quarterbacks coming out of high school. So it was good to see him finally get his shine and actually put the country on notice.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And his time will come sooner than we think. This season will end, and then he'll be the starter next year, and before you know it, we'll be there. So he'll get to put his talent on display, and we'll see him in the near future.
Yeah, man. He keeps playing like this, we'll get the opportunity to see the name Manning on the back of another NFL jersey, man. So that'd be crazy. And
how about that run, man? What was it, 67 yards?
Yes, sir. I mean, listen, I didn't know he had the jets like that. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know that he had the jets like that. And not only that, he had to get jiggy to get out of the pocket and hit it. So Yeah, man. It was a big surprise for me to see him burn past defensive backs and linebackers like that. So, congratulations to him. I hope he does outstanding and put us on even more of a notice in the next game versus Louisiana Monroe. So,
I guess
looking forward to it.
the going joke is that the athleticism skipped a generation because you know Archie, the granddad, he was pretty athletic in his own right. So
Right. No, I understand 100%. Like this that's why I said Peyton and Eli could never. I mean, they only had dreams of running that fast. So,
yep.
man, I mean, while they were great in their own, like I don't want to take anything away from them, but he looks like the next big thing coming out of the Manning family.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Exciting, exciting times.
So let's go ahead and switch gears here into the NFL. So there were a lot of upsets this weekend in the NFL. I think I counted like 6 of them.
It was
right?
your kind of weekend then. Lots of underdogs.
I didn't get in on any of the action. But that's another story. That's another story. But with that being said, who is the best team that hasn't won a game yet? The best 0-2 team.
Oh man.
I feel like we're gonna connect on this one. I feel like I picked 2 teams, but I feel like me and you gonna have similar takes in this topic.
So I think the 2 teams we're thinking of are the Bengals and the Ravens, and you can put them in either order. But when you consider the way the Bengals played on the road at the Chiefs, I mean, they've got to be up there. The Ravens played a close game too against the Raiders, who we both thought were underrated coming in. I'm glad to see the Raiders have some success. But yeah, the Bengals have a lot of components. I mean, for the record, Joe Burrow did look pretty healthy. They got Jamar Chase back. I know he played in the first game, but he's missed a lot of training camp. T. Higgins, isn't back yet, but hopefully he returns soon. And then for the Ravens, they just got to get better at closing out games, right? Like that's the big thing with them. So I'm assuming those are the 2 teams you had in mind. What say you?
So for me, we definitely agree on the Ravens. I went with the Rams for my second pick.
That is a good one. I didn't think about that.
Now, I'm going to get to the Rams in a second, but I will say this. The Ravens just need to get their act together because it's not like they're playing bad football. The first game, the first loss, I'll give it to you. You played the reigning Super Bowl champions and the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Raiders, now, Peyton, you like the Raiders. But the Raiders, come on, man. Like, as a contender in the AFC, there's no way that you guys can be losing to the Raiders. Yeah, but they obviously didn't watch the show last week, Peyton, because my take was Derrick Henry needs to run the ball, and he needs to run it a lot, right? 18 carries is not enough for Derrick Henry to have some type of effect on this game. He needs to be running the ball 25 to 28 times in a game for the Ravens to be successful. And he could keep the 84 yards that he had on the ground. He had 84 yards and a touchdown. He could keep the 84 yards, but you got to pound away at defenses because we know that Derrick Henry has that home run ability and he could break away from any defense at any time. Like I said, those tires have a lot of miles on them, but that's no reason to stop riding or rolling on them. You know what I mean? So no matter what, you got to give the ball to Derrick Henry, and that's going to open up the ability for Lamar Jackson to, pull the ball sometimes on that read option and fool the defense and get up the field for 10-yard, 15-yard, 20-yard scampers. And then also it opens up the play action option as well for them to get the ball to all their weapons on the outside. So that's that for me, Peyton. You like the Raiders though, right?
I do, man. I just think they're underrated. And we were just talking about experience at the quarterback position. I know he's not flashy, but what about Minshew Mania, right? Like he
I'm
got
not
the job
sold,
done
man.
on Sunday.
I'm not sold. I'm not sold.
Yeah.
But I do want to say big shout out to everybody that's in the comment section. I know, like, I'm on my phone. I'm trying to keep engaged with the conversation that's happening on Instagram and everything like that. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in with us on this Tuesday evening.
Absolutely.
Now, my second team, the Rams.
Yeah. That's a good team to pick, by the way. Now, they're dealing with some cluster injuries, but they're still capable.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I picked them, because in the preseason, I had them doing a lot better than what they're doing right now. But we can't predict the injuries. And right now, for me, all roads lead to nowhere for the Rams. Their top two targets are injured, and it might be over for them.
And they have the 49ers this week.
I'm gonna get to the 49ers in a second.
Okay.
But as far as the Rams go, and all the injuries that we've seen throughout this season, like, there's some big names out. Deebo Samuel's got hurt. Isaiah Pacheco is injured.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. The list goes on. Tua Tagovailoa. Like, the list goes on and on. Now, this is totally off topic, but do you think that the guys not playing in the preseason has something to do with that?
I think so, man, because I've heard a bunch of ex-NFL players and NFL analysts talk about how during the course of a preseason, you build up those calluses, right? You get used to playing. It takes a couple of weeks. You have your bumps and bruises. So I think you're going to see a shift in next year's preseason, and you're going to see more teams playing their starters, because this is a common thread, and it's been going on for a couple of years now. We've seen the injury bug hit early on in the regular season. So I think that's a great point, man.
And it's crazy because I was whining and complaining about the guy, like the preseason being too long and so on and so forth. But we got to, like, they have the joint practices. Are they not going full out in joint practices? Like, can we not build up those calluses in those joint practices? And I know game speed is totally different than the 7-on-7s that they're probably running in practices, and the one-on-one drills and so on and so forth. But, like, we have to come up with a better way in order to get these guys ready to go, because the injuries are killing my fantasy football team.
Yeah.
It is hurting me. It's hurting my feelings. And prayers up to all those guys that do have injuries. I'm definitely wishing them speedy recoveries. I need everybody to come back 100%, because me being a former ex-athlete, I've been under the knife. I've had to have surgery. And it's not a good thing, that road back. I mean, I spoke about Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins coming back and building their confidence and so on and so forth. Like, we just need those guys to actually come back and just be healthy, make sure that they take care of themselves and not rush back, because, at the end of the day, your health is what matters the most. I get it that they're paying you millions and millions of dollars, but if you can't run full speed, what use are you anyways, right? So, prayers go out to those guys.
Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah, man. All right. I don't know what to say about the Rams. Like I said, I think it's over for them. The only reason I picked the Rams is because they were supposed to be good this year, but now it's looking a little bleak for them.
Yeah, I will say for the Rams, I think Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, in a way, they're going to embrace this challenge. They're going to embrace this spot, and they're going to try to find a way to beat the 49ers. I don't know if they will, but just knowing the type of competitors that those guys are, it feels like they're just going to take this on the chin and say, all right, you know what? Backs against the wall, all of these injuries hitting us. Let's try to go out there and prove everybody wrong.
You know what's crazy is if anybody can get the job done, is Matt Stafford and the original innovator, the former youngest. I mean, he still might be the youngest coach in the NFL, head coach in the NFL, and Sean McVay. There's a reason why this guy got a head coaching job at what, 32 years old, something like that.
I think you know what's crazy. I think he was 30, man.
I didn't want to undersell him, so that's why I said 32. But 30 sounds a bit more accurate. Yeah. So if anything, there's a reason why this guy has had his job for so long, and I think they can definitely figure it out.
Now, I will say, man, there's this stat out there about teams starting the season 0-2 and their chances of making the playoffs. Look, the bottom line is there are too many good teams in the league right now that are 0-2. I think you can throw those stats out the window. I think maybe one or two, if not three of these teams could end up making the playoffs. I mean, seriously, you already hit on the Ravens. How could they not be in the playoffs ultimately? And then you think about how well the Bengals played against the Chiefs, and then maybe one other team out there. But I think for this season, especially since it's only the third or fourth time we've played 17 games, my guess is that you can throw those stats out the window, and at least one, if not two, of these teams are going to end up making the playoffs.
So I will say, the Ravens, I can see them making the playoffs. But with the Bengals, if the Bengals continue to play well or improve on what they have going on in their situation, that's going to be a tight race to the end. So that's going to be a very interesting situation coming out of that division.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For sure. All right, man. Let's pick it up here. Let's pick it up a little bit.
Okay, we're picking it up. I hear you.
With all the upsets that happened this weekend, and it doesn't have to be an upset, but what was the biggest shock of the weekend for you? What was the biggest shocker of the weekend?
Oh, you know what? I'm actually just going to go to last night's game.
Okay.
With the Falcons and the Eagles.
Yes.
I mean, especially with the way Kirk Cousins looked in the first half compared to the way he looked in the second half. And the Falcons, they just hung in there, right? Like it didn't look well. They were on the road. Like you expect the Eagles to play really well at home, but they just hung in there and found a way to win in the end. And I really like the Falcons safety play between Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons. And obviously I think it was Bates was the one that had the interception at the end to seal it. So
Peyton, so I have two shockers here because you just sparked an idea in my head. Now I'm gonna go back to preseason right before week 1, and I mentioned the Super Bowl contender or winner would be a gritty team, right? And back then, I did say my beloved Miami Dolphins. That's what I said. It's not looking too bright for them. But the amount of grittiness in the games that have been played so far this season has been a shocker to me. Like that has been like the most surprising thing to me this season thus far. You have teams like the Raiders beating the Ravens. Now, they always play good games. But you also have teams like Minnesota beating the San Francisco 49ers, who I believe everybody thought that, one, San Fran would come in and win this game, but two, San Fran would be coasting their way into the playoffs, right? You do have Christian McCaffrey out. There are injuries on that side of the ball, but at the end of the day, they still got Kittle. They still got Debo. They still got Debo's out now, but they still got Ayuk. They got Jeff Jennings, who's been playing lights out. So like they have all of these guys, and I said Jeff, my fault. Jawan Jennings, who has been playing lights out and stepping up in times of need. But you have all these other teams that are being out coached by these teams that we expect to come in and be the top tier teams in the NFL. Who would have thunk that Cincinnati and Baltimore would be 0-2 right now?
Good point.
Nobody could have called that.
Yeah. Who would have thought that Minnesota would be 2-0? So
especially with the storylines, and this goes back to our preseason conversation. Like I said, Sam Darnold is that one guy who has that chip on his shoulder, and if he doesn't play well, which he has been proven to get the job done, if he didn't, he would have been sitting right next to Tom Brady in the booth calling games.
Yes.
So it's good to see that these players and these teams are finding ways to win games, and that is one of the biggest shockers to me.
Hey man, and there's no easy schedule in the NFL, right? Like I was looking on X earlier today, and they were talking about easiest remaining schedules in the NFL. Well,
hey, listen, some people say that you have easy schedules and the toughest schedules.
I think you can just throw it out of the window. Each week is its own challenge. It presents its own set of challenges. Everybody can play. There's a pretty level playing field, and the league is built for parity. So yeah, I think that's a great point by you. We're seeing a lot of grittiness from these teams, and you really don't know what to expect week to week.
Yeah, man. I know I don't. I've ripped up my bingo card. I'm out the game.
No, you're not. I'll get him back in, people. Don't worry. I'll get him back in.
I am. I don't know what to say at this point, man. But like for real, that's the biggest thing that has been catching me off guard is just the amount of teams that have been, like, okay, here's another shocker. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
I love that team.
Come on, man. And if anybody can figure out a way to win games, it's Mike Tomlin. After all the questions that's been hovering around that organization, which quarterback's gonna start? They don't have wide receiver ones, and who's the main target? Like all of these questions, we know one thing about it, two things for sure. That defense is always gonna show up and show out, and they're gonna figure it out on the other side of the ball. Yep. So Russell Wilson, go ahead.
Well, by the way, man, everyone talks about how nowadays it's more of an offensive league and these offensive coaches run the league and all of this stuff. Well, I don't know if I've already had this rant, Russ, but last postseason, if you go to 2 of the 3 final games played in the NFL, you had the Chiefs and the Ravens featuring damn good quarterbacks between Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. The final score was 17-10.
Right.
You had the Super Bowl between 2 of the best offensive minds in the sport, between Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. The final score at the end of regulation was less than 20.
Right.
So the athletes on both sides of the ball, they're bigger, stronger, faster. Maybe we need to stretch the field out because the Steelers are bringing back defense, and it's a beautiful sight to see, to be honest, to see that resistance, to see that disruption. I love watching the Steelers play right now.
Yeah, man. Like I said before, gritty, grimy, gully teams that's going to grind it out to the end. And that's the type of football I like to watch.
Yeah.
Tough, competitive football. And we've been getting plenty of it by the boatload. So I'm really excited about this football season. And we don't have the typical names sitting at the top right now. Will they shine through? Maybe as the season progresses. But right now we have teams that are figuring out ways and shocking some people. So hence the name of this segment. Now I got another team, Peyton.
All right.
Who that?
There you go. That's what I like to hear.
The
Yes,
New Orleans
sir.
Saints, man. They looking like
Yeah.
the Saints of old.
Yeah, no doubt. The Drew Brees days.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Man, what do you got to say about you? You don't seem too excited. You seem like, man, like
No,
like
trust
you're
me. I'm
used to
trying
it,
to hold back. I'm trying to hold back. Trust me.
man. Talk to me about your Saints, man. What are you seeing from them?
So first of all, I think a lot of people forget to realize that a big portion of last year, Derek Carr was not healthy. So he got hurt in week 3 against I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but he got hurt in week 3 against the Packers. The next week he didn't play well because I think he was still banged up. He missed some game, 1 or 2 games in the middle of the season. So I think right now he's very healthy. And then although I did just have a throwback rant about defense, what about offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak just totally changing it up? Because when you think about it, personnel-wise, the Saints offensively are not that different than they were last year. Like, you still got the same players. You still got Olave and Shaheed outside, Rashid Shaheed. And then you still have Kamara in the backfield. You still have Taysom Hill at tight end. A large portion of the offensive line is the same, although you have the rookie Talielise Fuaga at left tackle. But yeah, so that's a credit to the coaching there. Just a completely new system, much more pre-snap motion for the Saints. They're utilizing the pieces that they have on offense really well. Everyone is being exploited in the right way. So I was trying to hold back, but you got me to go on a little bit of a rant. But yeah, we got a big game this week against the Eagles. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, listen, if y'all continue to play the way that y'all been playing, I like the Saints. And
what have you seen from them? Like, whether it be highlights or games, like, what have you seen?
Man, listen, I was able to watch a bit of that game. I turned it off. I can't remember when I turned it off. I switched to another game, but Alvin Kamara, man, this goes back to my, like, everything that I was saying in the preseason, man, is actually, it's not that it's coming true or coming to life, but Alvin Kamara, this is exactly who I know him to be. And I'm happy to see him back having fun on the football field. Like you said, last year, y'all was riddled by injuries. And, you know, like, I love the fact that Derek Carr is out there playing lights out, being the quarterback that everybody needs him to be in New Orleans. You know, you guys have a crazy ton of weapons on that offensive side of the ball. So, man, like, I'm nothing but impressed with the New Orleans Saints right now. And I hope for your sake that they continue on this trend that they're on right now.
Oh, no doubt. They got to keep it rolling. So I'm trying to stay tempered and just be realistic. But yeah, man, it's looking good at the moment.
Unlike me, I don't know. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say on my side of the fandom,
Well,
in my fandom world.
I'll say this for your sake, man. If there's one coach that can get it done on the offensive side of the ball, even with a backup quarterback, Mike McDaniel's on a short list. That's what I would say. He's on a short list. And I don't know. I'm not familiar with their schedule, but they're 1-1. And I like seeing the Dolphins competitive. So let's roll the football out there and see what happens with the Dolphins.
Yeah, we got the 2-0 Seattle Seahawks, and we're in Seattle.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Man, I hope they fly up there on Friday instead of Saturday. That is a long haul, man. Like, you got to acclimate.
Yes, and you got to make up for the time zone change and everything. So
yeah.
But I'm not going to get into them too much today because that is not about that. Congratulations to you and your New Orleans Saints. You guys have been causing up quite a stir.
Well, man, it's not all roses and sunshine over here. You know, I'm repping the Jags too, so they got to step it up as well.
That's interesting. I need to find me another team like you. I need to be like you.
Yeah, one AFC, one NFC. I keep trying to tell you.
I might join that Saints train.
There you go.
Just so we can have some form of commonality across the board.
Absolutely. We can be a little more aligned.
Yeah. And if we win the Super Bowl, then we can celebrate together.
Hey, there you go. And you seem like a guy that would like New Orleans too, by the way.
I love New Orleans, bro. I've been to Mardi Gras plenty of times.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yes, sir.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But on that note, man, I just want to thank everybody. Peyton, thank you for joining me tonight. As always, bro, it's good to chop it up with you. And for those who are watching at home, if you're not already, you are crazy, but you need to be following us on social media at The Sportaholics. I don't want to have to tell you that again. So please make sure y'all tap in. We're here each and every Tuesday and Friday at 7:30. You can catch the show live on Tuesdays. You can catch our podcast on Fridays. And we just talk sports and chop it up, and just two bros having a good time.
And I will say we're trying to integrate a little more culture and current events into the show. Russ knows me. I live under a sports rock, but I got to get out there a little bit more and see the world. So we want to chop it up with you guys. We want to hear your thoughts and comments. So feel free to share them and follow us on all of our socials.
Yeah, 100%. Like he said, man, if you guys have any ideas, anything that we missed on the show, anything you think we should talk about, please let us know. You can shoot us a DM. You can drop it in the comments. You can reach out to us on our personal pages. By all means, we're here for it, man. But until next time, Peyton, before I let you go, anything else you want to say?
I don't have anything else for tonight. I think you did a good job wrapping it up, but I want to say I appreciate you for being the host. And we're just going to keep it rolling here. We're going to keep it rolling.
Yeah, man. More content on the way, guys. Please stay tuned. Thank you all for all of your support. We will be nothing without you, Peyton. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, bro. We got to catch up. And
absolutely, man.
Until next time, everybody, y'all stay blessed, and we're out.
Yes, sir.